What are the most effective ways of teaching music production? That is what I want to address in this video. Now, the reason why I wanted to make this is because I have taught music production in a few different settings, and I wanted to talk about some of the most effective ways that I found of teaching it, and also to advocate for increased teaching of music production. I think in this digital age, musicians are just expected to know that, and I have firsthand experience because I'm a professional musician, and many times, probably dozens of times, I've been asked to record audio. I've been asked to mix audio. I've been asked to write soundtracks in a digital audio workstation. And so all of these things I think are incredibly important to learn, and important to learn early on. And so I feel like after somebody has been playing an instrument for a few years, been in their school band, then they can go and just write music electronically. So why is it important to learn how to perform on an instrument beforehand? I think, at least for the sake of this video, I'm talking about writing music yourself and not throwing a bunch of prearranged loops together. I'm talking about a more compositional approach to it, where you are actually writing the music without the aid of, prearranged loops. I think prearranged loops are fine, but I think for the sake of this video at least, I want to talk about sort of something a little bit more hands-on. And so in order to do that, I think it's imperative that somebody at least knows how to play an instrument, so that they know sort of how music works. Is that strictly necessary? I think that's a really good question to consider in a different video, but I think it's really important to have a strong foundational background in music. So to actually address this question, well, how do you actually teach production? I've set it up in a way that is really simple and focuses on just hitting record and playing something. I think that's a really great place to start. And in fact, what I would do is have your students experiment with different sounds. And so they can just scroll through the sound library and just pick random things and record different tracks. And just that can be their assignments for the first while. I mean, even for the first week or more, if that's how you want to design your class, is to just experiment and just do that. Then what they can do is you can ask them to write 8 measures, 16 measures, something that's very concrete, that imposes a limit on what they can do, and then you can sort of build on that. Now, I think it's really important that at this stage you are giving individual feedback to the individual students. You are not going and addressing the whole class and saying, oh, well, all of you can do this, all of you can do this, whatever. I think it's important that every individual student has a path forward that they can take. And so after doing, a few of those assignments, then they can sort of start doing something more complicated. Maybe you then assign something that is 2 tracks instead of 1 track, 3 tracks, 4 tracks, something that gets a little bit more complicated, that makes them think a little bit more. Well, how do I actually want to arrange this music? And so it's giving them control and also giving them quite a bit of discipline, because you are, having them arrange the music as well. You're, writing for multiple different instruments, multiple different tracks. So I think that is a pretty sequential approach, but in my experience, I think it totally works. And I think the same can be said outside the classroom. If you're doing, private production lessons, that's a lot of what I do. the way that I do that is I just say, I mean, it depends on the experience level of the student, but if the student's an absolute beginner, I will just show them, I will even use something, a really, really simple digital audio workstation, GarageBand, Audacity, Reaper, those types of things. And I will show them how to set everything up, how to hit record, they play something, and then we move from there. If they're a little bit more experienced, then they may bring in a track for me. I will give them feedback on the track. I will show them how to, do certain things if it's all what they want to do. Say, oh, I want to have the violins a little bit higher up, and and I will show them how to move that MIDI data up. And if I give them feedback, it's like, well, I think you can, put a bass instrument, a lower pitched instrument here in this section of your piece. I think that would hold it together a lot more. And then I will show them how to do that. And I will show them which one I think works. They will show me which one they think works. And in my experience doing that, it works well because they have a lot of autonomy, and at the same time, I'm giving them feedback on how their compositions can take shape. So I think ultimately to teach music production, for the sake of this video, I'm talking about MIDI recording. It's a sequential practice in the classroom. It is a sequential practice if you were giving private lessons to somebody. And if somebody already has a little bit of production experience, they know how to use GarageBand a little bit, then you can say, oh, bring in a track for me. I will give you my feedback. And then maybe for the next lesson, you can write, something else, an entirely different track, or, in addition, keep expanding on the existing track. And it can all be sort of how you design it as your own instruction for your own teaching. So I think throughout this video, number one, students have some kind of foundation in music. I think it's really, really important. Unless they want to be throwing loops together and, but again, you need a background in music, no matter what. Number two, keep it really, really simple at first. If you want to make it more complicated later on, you can do that. I think that goes for anything that you're teaching. And number three, just make it so that they have a lot of autonomy over their projects and that you are giving them individualized feedback over their work. So those three things I think are the best ways of teaching music production. If you have taught production and you have additional things that you'd like to make me aware of, some other techniques, please let me know down in the comments. Please share this video with people. Please subscribe to this channel if this content is interesting for you. I will have much more coming. So with that, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you found it helpful.